So when I first saw bless everything, I thought it was a typo. Because the everything part is what I thought was the typo. Because that means everything. And I thought I'd start us out with a question which I love to do. Here's the question. What if blessing everything is the key to freedom? Not because everything is good, but because everything can be transformed. Oh, some of these just move me, and this one does. What if blessing everything was the key to freedom? We can buy that right out of the gate, right? Not because everything is good. That's the key. Not because everything is good, but because everything can be transformed. And that's the key, not only to this teaching. This has been metaphysicians through time and space. That's the gift we have. We are allowed to transform whatever it is that isn't working for us. That doesn't mean I get to transform you or you or you. That's not what transformation is. I get to transform me. And that is what is wonderful. That is the power in which I am learning. Now, because I was thinking of this all week, that beautiful, beautiful word that we all love so much, forgiveness, kept coming up the entire week. And I went, oh, no. And I was listening to Michael Beckwith, Reverend Michael Beckwith, and he was talking about, in a class we took, that it was all about this forgiveness. And I thought to myself, is it possible, and then this question jumped onto that one, can we bless everything while we still have not forgiven? And then the other one was just, that's how my mind worked, endless questions. Can we bless everything and still hold resentment in our hearts? Now, immediately I went, well, of course not. But there are some things that are justified. Not for me. And I thought, what if you really could forgive everything? And I remember someone saying one time, it's a little arrogant thinking that I need to forgive you to begin with, because trust me, read the book. I have plenty of things that went through forgiveness. But all I know, and I said to Rita, because there's nothing like two ministers living in the same house, because we get to constantly go through that. But I said, is it possible to actually live and forgive everything? And then I thought to myself, is there anyone, including, and especially myself, that can prove that not forgiving serves my life? And I went, absolutely not. It cannot. It never has. It never will. So I'm going, but we still hold on to it at times. But see, everything for me is a happy ending. So here we go. This was the question that I said to myself on the path. And I didn't think I'd get an answer. Michael Beckwith says, why don't you just close your eyes and then you say, is there anyone I need to forgive? Come forth. And really mean it. Is there anything? And I was shocked. Boom! Up pops, my 12-year-old friend, 13-year-old friend. I went, oh my God, I took care of you so long ago. Are you still hanging? Yes. And it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't, oh, I have to really figure this out. That's where the overthinking comes. I said to myself, what if I could transform? And he came up. And guess what I learned about forgiveness? It's a two-way street. I keep thinking I have to forgive them, but sometimes it comes right back to forgiving myself. And that's in abusive situations. I'm just going to throw that one out. In abusive situations, the reason I've had to forgive myself is because I stayed very long at the fair. And with my friend, when I really sat with it, and I talked to him on the path, they're so used to me talking out loud, they just go, there's that guy that runs the woo-woo center. He's still talking to himself. And I just went, oh my God, we were just boys. Confused. I don't know about any of you, but puberty was a real confusing time of life for me. Oh yeah, I'm out here by myself. I'm the only one. Just go, yes, we understand. Yeah. And I looked in there and I went, half the things that I thought I had to forgive, I just sometimes had to forgive myself for staying too long in a situation that did not serve me. And this is what I also said to myself. I apologize to you, Patrick, whatever is going on in the past, to bring it to the future. I'm sorry that you didn't feel you were worth it and that you deserved to not be there. And when I started thinking like that, my heart just opened. And never condoning anything, just going, I didn't leave. Why didn't I leave? Because I didn't know I could. I didn't know. And the people that I've worked with, I went, wow, this forgiveness. And then the other one is there anyone I still need to forgive or where I need to be forgiven? Oh my God, I was shocked. Did you know I've done things that needed forgiveness? I was like, wow. And they just surged through me. And that's why it's so important. Because if we don't let it all surge through us, then it stays there. And it gets locked in our beautiful body temples. And we get to go, oh, I have to release you now. I have to free you now. And all of a sudden, forgiveness became very freeing to me. Because I don't have that ball and chain. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy at all. But it's so freeing to think of that. Do you feel that? Is there anyone that, I mean, I'm not looking for, you to reveal it right now. But would you say that your slate is completely clean of anyone that you would have to forgive anywhere, anytime, in any space? But guess what? It doesn't have to be a norm. It doesn't have to be that's just the way it is. I love the idea that everybody, and I do mean everyone. Did I mention everyone? They're doing the best that they can do at the time that they're doing it, because I have to believe, or I won't make it through. I have to believe that at the very core, there's love there. As a teacher and as someone who has taught science of mind, I'm sure that Reverend Diane can attest to this, and Rita, the very first thing that I hear in a class, especially the foundational class, and I go, everyone is where God is, no matter how they're appearing. And there's some unappearing God-like things running around, in my opinion. But the first thing they say to me, the hands go up. What about Hitler? And if we hear that one more time, because we always get, that's the first, like, how do you justify that? First of all, I don't. There is nothing to justify there. But I do know this, and I don't like to admit it, because my judgment, of him is powerful. But I do know at one time, there was a little tiny baby. I had to say this about my father as well. Let's use my father. Hitler's kind of, but anyway, you get the point. But my father, who was very destructive, his mother held him at one time in his life before he met me, before he terrorized my mother for many years, many years. And when you look at a baby, because I have to believe that, we may make movies about it, like Rosemary's Baby and all of those kind of fun things, but I do know that a little baby doesn't come out saying, I hate the world. No, it's too busy pooping and peeing and waiting for somebody to clean it up. And so as we go through, these things come to me, I'm thinking, then I'll go home tonight and have a vulnerability hangover. And then I'll get there and then say, did I really say pooping and peeing all over yourself? And then Hitler and the same thing. To know me is to love me. And if you can understand me, then your life will go perfect. You'll go perfect. Ernest Holmes, let's bring him into the picture. He was a little baby too. And he came out going, and so it is. See, I said that too. Emma, help me. I'm falling all over here. So here's the thing that he also said, we cannot afford to hold resentment against anyone. For resentment is a mental poison that shuts off the flow of spirit through us. And what I see about that is forgiveness, letting go, saying, looking for the good. I've been called Pollyanna many times. And that's because I wore a dress at the last telethon. But Pollyanna, I always wonder why it was you're so Pollyanna. Well, is that like a horrible thing to be? Always looking for the good. I'm confused. It's really okay to look for the good in it. And is there always good? I think at the end of the day, it is. There is. Well, I have always found good. Hindsight. So, one last, Alan Watts. Anybody know this man? I love me some Alan Watts. I never loved anything at the time that it was happening. Like, during it. It's like Led Zeppelin. I was like, 15 years afterwards, they go, have you ever heard Palmer? And this group is called Led Zeppelin. Yeah, about 15, 20 years ago, Patrick. I was always catching up. And Alan Watts, I just love. He says, fear, and we'll begin with this one, begin with it. Fear says, if I don't act, something terrible will happen. That's that fear trying to convince you. If I don't act, something terrible is going to happen. And guess what trust says to us? Whatever happens, I will meet it. Whatever happens, I will meet it. And I have to say, last night, 2 o'clock in the morning, I got up. I haven't had this in a long time. I started thinking. The 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning thought process. It's like, and I've been so good because I would go, I can go back to sleep now. I've been training myself. Last night, let me see, I've already done the telethon about 3 or 4 times. All of that's in check. But then the other one was this. I'm going to be really honest with you and vulnerable with you. I thought, as I was laying next to this beautiful lady, I thought, someday we're not going to be here. And so what happens if something happened to her? I don't know where I was living, in another world that says it couldn't happen. But I went, what would happen to my life that we have invested in 25 years of love with one another and a lot of roads? What would I do? And I got this, and then I said, oh no, you're not going to go there, are you? Then you start figuring out, oh God, I should have saved longer, I should have done this, I'm thinking, Patrick, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're going to get up at 4:30 this morning. And so we have about an hour and a half left. But what I got from it was this, that last line that says, trust says, whatever happens, I will meet it. And I have to know that. And I do know that. I'm not saying kicking and screaming, because Rita has always said, well, maybe she goes, don't worry about it, maybe we'll go together. And I said, I'm not flying with you anywhere. Anywhere, again. And she said, it doesn't have to be a plane. I'm thinking, is she planning something I don't know about here? I'm like, what? So then I went back to fear. But what I'm saying for this whole time together today is what we started with. What if blessing everything is the key to freedom? I bless Mary McDermott in my life. And I do not, as many of us would say, we do not resent loving because we feel the pain of losing. That's the key to the whole thing. Daring enough to love no matter what the pain is when we lose someone. Because in my opinion, and we all know how valuable that is, in my opinion, there is no such thing as loss when you have loved. There is only gain. So with that, I leave you on this beautiful rainy day that everyone's not sweating. It's so beautiful. Namaste. You are loved.